Okay, guys, first what I want to do here, as we're talking about how to track your Facebook ads that are specifically ads directed externally from Facebook. So we're saying we want to be able to track ads when the ad is leading to a page outside of Facebook. So this will not apply to any type of ads that you're tracking that lead to a fan page or anything inside of Facebook. So first I want you guys to get the concept of what it is we're trying to track and why we actually need tracking, why we need Google Analytics to help us out here. So if you look here at my on my screen, you can see this kind of a little mind map I've made here. And the example I've got here is say you're creating an ad that goes to a squeeze page specifically. So here you see we have a little area representing a squeeze page. But you're wanting to test ads to go to the squeeze page on Facebook. So say you've created 4 different ads. That way you have 4 different versions. Maybe it's a different combination of images or different text. But what you have is 4 ads all going to the same squeeze page. With ultimately your goal is that person to opt in. So the way it works is each of these 4 ads you can see here pointing down toward the squeeze page. All 4 of these ads are going to the squeeze page. And when that happens, Google Analytics picks up on it and says, okay, someone hit your squeeze page, and as they're going to the thank you page, Google Analytics can say, okay, this person made it to the squeeze page. Not only that, they made it to the thank you page. So Google Analytics, as you set up your goals, you'll want to set up 2 different goals, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Your first goal that you want Google Analytics to say is, did they make it to the squeeze page? Okay, most importantly, the next step is, if they made it there, did they make it to the thank you page, which means they opted in. So Google Analytics can tell you all that. But if you have it set up to where you're just sending all 4 of these ads and they all, because if they're all going to the same squeeze page, all 4 of these different ads have the same exact destination URL. And so when it comes down to the reporting time and you go into your Google Analytics, you're going to see this URL getting a lot of hits, but you're not going to be able to differentiate which ad that came from if you don't set up trackable links with Google Link Builder. So that's where we're running into this problem here, is that if all 4 of these ads don't have their own individual trackable link, then they're all going to be muddled in with Google Analytics, and you're not actually going to be able to tell, which ad is performing the best. So that's what we're starting with here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into just the basic so we're going to move into now how to actually set up your Google Analytics account. For those of you who already have a Google Analytics account, this is probably going to be very basic for you, and what you'll need to do is just go in and add a new profile. If you already have an account and you already have other profiles, I'm assuming you already know how to do that. So what I'm going to show for those of you who do not have Google Analytics accounts, how to do that. So first off, for those of you who don't know, in order to have a Google Analytics account, you must have a Gmail account, a Google email account. If you do not have that, you cannot have a Google Analytics account. So first, sign up for a Gmail account. If you don't know how to do that, go to Google and type in Gmail, and the first thing that's going to come up is how to sign up for a Gmail account. Next thing you want to do, if you want to find how to find Google Analytics, type Google Analytics, and it's going to give you a link. Now, I already have my account set up, so you would click sign up now and go through that whole process. So once you kind of create your account, you're actually going to set up your first website. So that, again, once you hit sign up, that's a very basic account setup. Just go in there, your email address, your password, and you're good going. So here's how it looks. Signing up for Google Analytics, and what you're going to do is you're going to put in the domain that you're going to be doing your tracking on. So if your squeeze page is on a specific domain or a sales page or a blog, you're going to put that domain in here. So I'm just going to put in test.com, and the account name will be, I'll just call this test account for our purposes. And do choose the correct time zone. I'm going to choose Central since we're here in Austin. I'm going to hit continue, and then I'm just going to put my first and last name and country I live in. Basic so far. You can read that if you like, but I'm going to go ahead and just trust Google on this one and click the yes button. and hit create account. And so what's happened here is that your account has been created. Okay, so what they're doing is they're giving you a piece of code that you're going to put on whatever page you're doing your tracking on, so that Google can actually have they know where to actually find the information and where to put all their sets of tracking eyeballs at. So you'll see that you have an option over here. What are you tracking? Single domain, one domain, so and so. For our purposes, we're tracking single domains. If you're a little more advanced, you know how to mess with this, by all means do that. But what we're going to be doing here is just tracking a single domain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all, and I'm going to right click on this and hit copy. This will be the same whether you're on a Mac or PC. Select it all, right click and select copy. On my Mac, I'm going to open text editor. If you're on a PC, you're going to want to open just Notepad. It's in the same exact way. I'm going to right click and hit paste. I'm just going to keep that code there for now, so that when it's time for me to embed this code onto my squeeze page, sales page, or anything, I have it ready to copy and paste. That way I can go ahead and hit save and finish here. And here it'll take you into your specific profile, this account for this website. And so you can see here right now, this is tracking unknown. That's because we haven't put the code anywhere on the site. So Google's saying, hey, take this code, put it on your site so we know where to do the tracking at, okay? So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to show you how to put this in on your WordPress blog. So if you're tracking this on your WordPress blog, this will be, we're going to go to plugins. Okay, so WordPress makes this extremely easy by having lots of cool plugins for you guys. So what I'm going to tell you to do first is go to Add New Plugins, and you're going to look up, just type in Google Analytics and search this type of plugin name. You're going to have a lot of options, but we've used quite a few, and we're specifically recommending, for this purposes, Google Analytics for WordPress. If you choose a different one, then these instructions probably won't work for you, but we're choosing Google Analytics for WordPress version 4.0.9. Now, they might update that, but specifically, and this is the only one called Google Analytics for WordPress. So once if you've installed a plugin before, you know that typically, I already had this installed, but you click install now, enter your FTP information, and it would add it to your website. So once that's installed and activated, under your settings, you're going to find a little area automatically placed on here after you've activated the plugin. So make sure that you install it and activate it. For those of you who haven't done that, it's a very simple thing. You just, when you hit install, you know what? Let's do this. Just for you guys' purposes, I'm going to uninstall this. Just in case for those of you who do not know how to install a plugin. How do I install that? Let's pause for a second while I figure that out, guys. I'm going to pause just real fast. You're going to be able to see each of these profiles show up under your Google Analytics account. Now, this is the test profile I made. Right now, I don't have the actual, I haven't actually gone and created all the links yet because, it takes time to get the ads approved and such. But what's going to happen is under this test.com, you're going to see each of your links listed down. And so, they're going to have long names, but when you go in there, based on the campaign and the link builder stuff, that shows up in there, you're going to be able to tell which ad that came from, how many, people that clicked on the ad got to the squeeze page, and how many of those people got to the thank you page or the sales page or whatever your goals set up were. So let's kind of, run back through. So what we've done is we've created our Google Analytics account, put the code on our page, created the goals, then we created special trackable links. We've made redirects so those links look prettier, and then we enter those into our actual ad, and then we go back to our Google Analytics account, and under the profile you made, you're going to see each of those links automatically show up, because Google's going to know that when you created those links, it was related to your Google Analytics account. And so then what you do from there is you go in there every day or multiple times a day as because if your budget's tight, you don't want to waste a lot of time tracking and making decisions about your ads. So you're going to go in there and say, all right, ad 1's winning, ad 3 is in second place, ad 2 and 4 are tied for last place. And then you go in there every hour and you say, all right, it's obviously the ad number 2 and 4 are just not performing well, and ad 1 and 3 are doing well. So you drop ad 2 and 4, and then you say, all right, ad 1 and 3 are really doing, almost performing the same thing. So let's test some variations of those. Switch out some parts, and and try and make that the best ad that you can possibly make, and just focus on having that ad, and then knowing things you can tweak in the future to keep the ad fresh. The different pictures you can use and that kind of thing. So that's it right there, guys. So this is how you're going to track these links and track your ads and know which ads performing the best. So hopefully this covers all the questions you might have. If you don't know how to find your FTP login information for FileZilla, that's not something we can really help you with because it's different for every hosting solution. So I suggest that you guys contact your hosting provider. But all in all, this is it. If right now you're saying, okay, I've watched this video and I feel like Shane just went to places that are just totally confusing me, I feel overwhelmed, I feel like I wish I could pay someone to do this, do me a favor, guys. Just go through this checklist and just do it. Do it step by step, and you'll find that as you do it, it really is a simple process. Take it one phase at a time and work through it. And if you're still really finding problems through there and you're finding that this is too advanced for you, go through each step. Do it anyway, and write down the parts that confuse you, and submit those to the comments section. Hopefully, that we can get all this worked out, and maybe talk about it, any of these confusing points at a later date in the training. But all right, that's it. Thanks, guys. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show you how to do is put the analytics tracking code on your blog. So if you're sending ads to your blog or an opt-in on your blog, this will be able to allow Google to track everything going on your blog. So you just put it in this one spot, and then you can set up tracking for each of the individual pages. You'll see what's going on those things. So this is a one-time thing for your WordPress blog. So what I've done here on the left side, I've gone to plugins, and then clicked add new. Then I'm going to search for the term Google Analytics. And the plugin that we're using is specifically called Google Analytics for WordPress. So don't use any other ones. You can if you want to, but I won't have any instructions for how to use those. So I've already installed it, but what you would do, where here it says install now, you click install now, you put in your password, and then the plugin automatically installs. And once that happens, that'll show up over here in your plugins area. And from that point, what you want to do is you want to activate the plugin, and you activate it by clicking activate. So once you've activated the plugin, automatically under your settings, now your settings might not be expanded, so hit the little arrow next to your settings, and you'll see a little tab here called Google Analytics. And so what I'm going to do, so you can see here that this has already been authenticated. So typically there would be a large blue button that would say authenticate with Google, and you would click that and it would populate the information from the account. Now it's going to populate the information from the Google Analytics account based on what Google email address you're logged into. So make sure you're logged in with the right Gmail address. So I'm going to hit re-authenticate, and I'm going to say grant access to my Google account, and then I'm going to see the test account that I created. So I did that last page kind of fast, but all it was doing was saying, are you sure you want to use this Gmail account, because this Gmail account has a specific websites connected to it. So yeah, I said, yeah, I'm going to allow you to have access to this analytics account. So when that happened, it brought me back to the WordPress site. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a test account, and then I already don't have one profile set up, so I'm going to choose that profile. Then I'm going to say update Google Analytics setting, and that is it. Now my analytics is set up on my WordPress, and it's good to go. There's some advanced settings here you guys can mess with. If you are an advanced analytics user, by all means do that, but we don't need to do that. If you're just putting this onto a standard HTML web page, a sales page, or a squeeze page, here's how you'll do it. So at the top of any HTML, you're going to see the header, and the header is signified by this opening head tag and a closing header tag. And so it'll just be, these little brackets, head, bracket, then closing one, the word head. And so you can, when you open up a page, and if you're doing it in Dreamweaver, and you know how to edit a page, and do a control find for for this closing tag. And then what you'll want to do is go over to your notepad where you copied your analytics code. You want to right click it, and you're going to want to copy this. Okay, so now there's probably going to be a lot of mumbo jumbo going on between inside the header tag. So to be safe, you don't want to interrupt any other codes or scripts. Just go just above, have your cursor just above the closing head tag, right click, and click paste. And that way you know that, and then you can go ahead and have that space down below it. But make sure that you're not interrupting any other code. And when you've done that, you can then save the document, and you can then um, upload it back up into your site, so that way analytics will be tracking on there. Okay, so now that you have your analytics tracking code on either your web page or your blog, you need to tell Google specifically what are your goals, what do you want them to be tracking, what kind of actions and destinations do you want Google to tell you about, so that you can really have more granular data. So come back to my Google Analytics account here, and you'll notice the tracking still says unknown. That just takes Google a minute to crawl and find the code that you put on your blog or your site. So give that a few hours if need be, sometimes more than a few hours. Sometimes it can take a day depending on how busy Google was during that time. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add goals so that we're telling Google what we want them to track. So in order to do that, we're going to come to that specific profile we created and click Edit. And over here you're going to see a section called Goals, and we can add goals. I've already created a few goals, so I'll show you how I did it. So I hit Add Goal, and I'm going to hit Edit. And so what I did here is, first I named this goal Squeeze Page. So my first goal is I want to get these people to the Squeeze Page. I want Google to tell me how many people got there. The goal can be active. The position will be set 1, goal 1, and then if you're for these instructions, I'm going to show you guys. The goal type is a URL destination. There's different types, but for the ads, this is what you're going to be using. This basically means that do you want to be tracking people who get to a certain point on your website or certain destination page. For the goal details, the match type is going to be head match. That's kind of the most common practice. If you're more advanced and you want to do other stuff, by all means do it, but use head match. And then for the goal URL, you're just going to put the location on the actual domain. So for the profile, we already told them what the domain is. We're going to tell them, okay, this is at squeeze page or /squeezepage.html, and it will automatically know which domain you're referring to. And for the goal value, this will be if there's any monetary value for this goal being achieved. So if this was a sales page, there might be a $197 goal there, but for the squeeze page, there's no actual monetary achievement being made. So we'll leave it at 0. And then there's an opportunity to do a funnel. Again, if you're advanced and you want to do this, by all means do it, but we're not going to be using funnels at this time. So I'll click Save Goal. And then the second goal I made here is goal number for set 2. I'll edit and show you what I made here. This is for the thank you page. So this will say, okay, Google, for those of the people that made to the thank you page, how many of those people got to for those people who made to the squeeze page, how many of those people got to the thank you page? So what I did is I named it thank you page. Very simple. Active goal. Then it's going to be goal set to goal 1 because it's the second set of goals. Same thing, URL destination. Head match, the location on the actual domain. The goal value again is 0 because there's no immediate monetary achievement for that. And then we're going to skip the funnel part again and hit Save Goal. So that way, now we say, all right, Google, I have this website. It's a squeeze page. And I put your tracking code on it so you know where to track the information. So when you're on that domain, here's what I want you to do. I want you to tell me how many people are hitting the squeeze page. And then also tell me how many people are getting to the thank you page. That way I can really figure out, what my conversion rates are and what kind of performance is occurring. Now, if you're doing this, if you're using multiple, if you're doing this on a squeeze page or a sales page, you'll actually need to put that Google Analytics code, tracking code on each individual HTML page. So you need to put it on your squeeze page, on your thank you page, on your order page, and your sales page. It's not as simple as the WordPress where it's kind of one and done. But like I showed you, you take this code and just put it right before the closing header tag. So all right, so now that we've got analytics set up, we have it added to your pages, we have your goals set up. The next thing to do, like we talked about in this, and kind of our dilemma here is that, all right, we need to figure out how can Google know which ad is which. So if I have 4 different ads going to the same squeeze page, how can they tell me which ad's performing the best? So I know where. Okay, so if this person comes in from this ad, I want to know if I'm having a better opt-in rate than this ad, or maybe I'm getting the most people getting to the squeeze page from ad number 2. So I want to know which ad is doing that. So the way we're going to do that is by creating trackable links with Google Analytics. And so what I'll do here is I'll just go to the Google page again so you guys can know how to find the link builder. And so I'm going to Google Link Builder. And of course, what they're going to show you first is the Google Link Building tool. So what this is going to do is allow you to create unique destination URLs for each of your ads. So whenever you're going in your Facebook ad and you give it, a destination, if you put in the same exact, link on each one, then Google can't differentiate where it came from. So when you do this, you're creating unique links so that Google can say, okay, well, this link is the one you put in ad 1, this link's the one you put in ad 2, even though they all lead to the same exact page. So what I'll do here is I'll put an HTTP, and I'll say, test.com/squeeze.html. Okay, so now every link, so if you have 4 different ads all go on the same page, they're all going to have the same website, destination URL, but they're going to have different information kind of in between. So for the campaign source, it's going to be Facebook. The campaign medium is going to be cost per click. For the campaign term, what you want to do here is kind of put the keyword that defines your avatar. So, if for this ad group, your specific avatar was the, young male US, then put that in there. So that way, that whenever you're going into your Google profiles and your analytics profiles and you're trying to figure out, this will help you differentiate which link is which. So, so the campaign term is going to be your avatar. The campaign content is going to be the group of ads that is coming from. So if you're having, 4 different ads all go into one squeeze page, and they're all going to be in one group in Facebook. So this will be my, squeeze group. And then for the campaign name, it's going to be the specific name of that ad inside that group. So this will be version number 1. So this will be ad number 1 of 4. And so once you have all that information filled out, you click Generate URL. And so it's going to give you this big, long URL. So if you guys remember when we're talking about ads in the training, that whatever destination URL you put inside of your Facebook ad, that's going to show up on your ad. So the next step we want to do here is we want to make this nice long, or this big long link look a lot nicer. So we're going to do that by creating a URL redirect. And so I gave you guys all on your cheat sheet the redirect script, but I'm going to go pull it off here from my own computer. And so what you're going to find when you guys open that zip file, the redirect script is a folder called redirect, and inside that's going to be called a file called index.php. And what you want to do is right click on it and open it with a text edit. If you're on a PC, you're going to want to open it with Notepad. And what you're going to see, mine has already been edited, but what you guys are going to see is a space. It'll look just like this. This very short snippet of code, and it'll be a little line that says link here. That's exactly what you guys are going to see. So what I'm going to do is take this big long link, come over here. What I did is I right-clicked and copied it, and then come over here and select the link here section and just right-click and hit paste and exactly replace that that part of the code. And then what I've done here is I'm telling this redirect script. So whenever someone hits this specific page, I'm going to tell it to, you're going to redirect to this big long link. And so I'm going to hit save. And so what I've done here, guys, again, is that to differentiate these ads, I'm creating individual trackable links. And so we don't want that trackable link to show up in the Facebook ads, so we're creating a redirect. And the way we do that is by using this little PHP script. So the first part was opening the zip file that we gave you guys, going into the index.php, opening in a notepad or text editor, and then inputting your specific trackable link that you created in your Google Link Builder. Okay, so now that you've got your tracking link file, the redirect script set up by putting in your trackable link, and now it's time to put it up on your website. So I'll show you how this is actually going to play out and how this is actually going to create the finished link. So if you guys have 4 ads, here's what I would recommend doing. I would, go into the index PHP, 4 ads going to the same place. I go to the index PHP, open text edit, and then this version, I would go and do a save as here, and I'm going to make a folder of all the individual ones, okay? So, or make, a folder for each one. So I'm going to go into my documents, and I'll say, first of all, let's make kind of a Facebook ads. I'll create that folder. And then inside that, I'm going to create a folder for version 1. So this is add version 1, okay? So save that. And so then what I'll do is, and then with my next trackable link, I'll go back into Link Builder, specify my information to make my new link, then I'll come and paste it in here. And I'll do the same thing. I'll do save as. I'm inside the version 1 folder, so I'll go back out to Documents, Facebook Ads, then I'll make a folder called version 2. So that way, go ahead and create all these trackable links ahead of time, so that when it's time to upload, you have them all in one place, and you kind of you can go in there and make sure everything's right, and you don't have any duplicate links, that everything's actually the way it's supposed to be set up. And then the way you're going to get these links to be active on a domain is by using an FTP client. FTP just means File Transfer Protocol. It's the way that you can upload information and data to your server. So what I'm going to use is FileZilla. This is going to look the same whether, it doesn't matter what you guys are doing, it's going to look exactly the same, whether you're on a PC or a Mac. So I'm on a Mac here, of course, but this is how it's on for a PC. So the very first thing you're going to do is when you install FileZilla, if you don't know what FileZilla is, go to the Google search bar, type in FileZilla, and find a download link. It'll probably be the first index result. And so what you'll do, you want to log into the domain you're uploading files to. So I put in my domain, the username and the password, and then you're going to click Quick Connect. Okay, so then it's going to be different depending on the kind of hosting, but for me, all of my files are in the HTTP docs folder. Okay, so then there's all this stuff in here. So what we're going to want to do now is upload the folder with the redirect script. So I'm going to go back in, and so the folder name that you upload, the script will be inside of a folder. That name for that folder will actually be what's visible in the link, because inside the folder is the index.php, so it automatically opens the index file inside of there. If you don't get that, don't worry about grasping it. Just know that the folder, the name of the folder that the PHP script's inside of, that's going to be the name of the link. So if you don't grasp it, don't worry about it. That's just how it works. So let me go back here to my Facebook ad. So all right, so I have version 1 here, and so I don't want it to be. So right now, if I let this as this folder name, and I upload it to the site as version 1, it would be test.com/version1. So I don't want to have version 1. I want to have keyword terms, and it doesn't have to be the most keyword rich thing ever, but you can rename the folder just basically the same way in PC, right click and click rename. And so I'll do this test.com/ say that you're in the market for dog grooming. You put dog dash grooming. So I'm going to say that. And then version 2, this is also going to the same thing. I can call this one just grooming. And so your root domain might be a little more centric to dog keyword terms. And so kind of have them all the same, but that way they all look nice and pretty. So it would be doggrooming.com/grooming, or grooming video, or something like that. So they're all going to be on the same place, but just come up with all good quality, nice looking names for that. So now once you have your all of your redirect scripts done, you're going to go back over to FileZilla. And so the way this works is on the left side is your actual computer. On the right side is the website you logged into. So what the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the left side, click on Users, click on my name, and then go to my Documents and find the actual folder on my computer where I had this information on Facebook ads. And so then what I've done over on the right side is click on HTTP docs. So this is my root directory. So this means that this isn't inside of any folder. So if anything I upload in here, there won't be any directory names before it. So I want to put dog grooming and grooming over there. So I'm just going to upload both of these folders. Actually, I'm just going to do the dog grooming one. And the way you do that is you take it and just drag it over here. Now make sure you don't hover over a folder because it'll add to a folder. So you just want to make sure that when it happens, kind of just do it over here, there's no folders, and that will automatically upload. So just to kind of show you guys how that works. So now obviously, if you guys remember, my redirect link was fake. It's going to test.com, but I did fbevolution.com/dog-grooming, and when I click on that, that redirects to a site that doesn't work. So let me go back here. Just 1 second. Okay, guys. So the reason I'm back here, I kind of had to figure out why that redirect wasn't working. But what the mistake I made is that when I was saving the redirect script, whenever you go to File, Save As, and you find your folder, and it's index, it was saved as index, but you make sure you have to add .php at the end, because otherwise, if it's not a PHP file, the script won't work. So make sure when you save it as you're going in and making your individual redirects, save as index.php, and then I went over here. It was already in that folder. I went up here and clicked the refresh button, and then I re-uploaded dog grooming, and it says this one already exists. Yeah, let's override it. And that way, so when I actually go to the facebookevolution.com/dog-grooming, the reason, hopefully you guys aren't confused, I'm using Facebook Evolution because I made a profile for test.com, which is not something we own or probably even exists. So I'm connecting to the Facebook Evolution FTP. So anyway, so if I go to facebookevolution.com/dog-grooming, it's going to test.com/squeeze, and they're saying, okay, this doesn't exist, but you can see the redirect worked. So let me recap, because I don't want anybody to be super confused. When you'll find out that when you actually just go in and follow the checklist that I give you, this is actually a very simple process. And I know for some of you, I might be using a lot of new, you might not have seen files level before, and you're not familiar with FTP, you're not familiar with redirect scripts, but it's really simple. So let me open up that checklist so I can walk you guys through what I've done so far. But just to kind of recap, okay, I created our account for Google Analytics. I took the code they gave us and I put it either on our webpage or on our blog. I set up the goals to tell them, okay, this is what I want Google, what I want you to track. Then I went to the link builder and created a trackable link. So that way I can create 4 different links, all going to the same page for each of my ads. So each time I create a link, each one is ad specific. And remember, we put in the specific information in the link builder form so that we know which ad that link goes to. And then to make that link look pretty, so that when it shows up in the Facebook ad, it doesn't look all long and confusing, we use the redirect script. So we went and we downloaded this, we opened up the PHP folder, we put our link in, we saved it, and we named that folder a directory name that would be keyword relevant. And we put that folder up onto the root directory of the domain that your squeeze page or sales page is on. So that way, when people go to your website.com/that folder you created, it redirects to your actual squeeze page. So I hope that you guys can see the flow here. Again, I'll refer to this mind map. So we have the squeeze page. We want this report to be able to tell us, okay, ad 1 did this, ad 2 did this, ad 3 did this, and ad 4 did this. So the way we did that is by creating the individual trackable links with Link Builder. I really want to drive that home for those of you who get this. I'm sorry if this is annoying, but for those of you who are having a hard time, trackable links is where it's at. This is how we can, when we go into our Google Analytics account, we can tell how each ad is performing individually. And just so you know, whenever you create those trackable links, it automatically syncs up with your Google Analytics because it recognizes the domain that you're redirecting to, that you already have analytics set up for that. So once that's all set up, you'll see that the phase 6 is to enter the link into the ad. And let me just kind of go into Facebook and then into our ads. And then I'll show you kind of where the create ad is. I'm going to pause that so we can kind of protect our information here. I'll come back with you guys. Okay, so I'm back here. I just skipped the part to where it actually has our individual ad information. But so what I did is when I went inside ads, I clicked create ad, and so now say this is the first ad that you have going to this first of 4 ads that all go to the same squeeze page. Um, we're not going to go through how to create ads, obviously, because Ryan talked about that. You can do that in the training, and you have a checklist for that. But what I would do here, okay, so this first one, my redirect is dog grooming. So this is one of my 4 redirect locations. So whenever I finish creating this ad, this specific, facebookevolution.com/dog grooming. Now, obviously, those keywords again don't match, but I'm just using what FTP I have access to right now. So in your case, it would probably, if you were doing dog grooming, it would be doggrooming.com/dog-grooming. Okay, so you want those keywords to all be relevant there. So don't be confused by the different keywords I'm using there. But so that's the link that would actually show up. And now that looks pretty and simple, but this link redirects. This link right here redirects to the link builder, the trackable link you made with Google Link Builder. So that one, and then that link builder one redirects to your actual squeeze page. So when anyone clicks this ad, they're going to see this nice pretty link. They're going to click on it. It's going to redirect through the trackable link into the actual squeeze page. So when all is said and done, you're going to come back to your, let's see here, to your analytics, and